What is up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals? My name's Naomi. Welcome to House of Miscellania. Today I'm coming at you with a WIP and chat. WIP stands for work in progress, and I'm going to chat with you for about an hour. First part is usually me talking about my life and things that happen in my life. And then the last half is where I read a tarot card and give us kind of a thought for the week. It works well for me, and I hope it works well for you guys as well. Let me get into my tools first, but I want to back you up just a little bit. You're feeling a little too close. That's a little better. Okay, so in my beautiful pen, I have to start with this beautiful pen. I mean, is this not the most beautiful pen that you have seen today? This is a pen from Kevin's DP Pens. They are one of our upcoming sponsors for Mary Morales, happening December 1st through January 31st. And I got this pen from Kevin's DP Pens. It is gorgeous. It's got a thin metal multi-placer from Diamond Art Club and a single placer from Diamond Art Club. Let me go over what's in those. In my multi-placer, I have Patsy Putty. This is April Showers, and blue matching, my beautiful canvas here. And in my single placer, I have Ghost from Diamond Painting Daily. This is the symbol that you are looking for to find Diamond Painting Daily on Etsy. I have my Firefly tray. This is a Firefly tray. It's the Switch Mini Max, and it has a removable lid, which I always remove, along with a removable trash tray. We always set that off to the side. And then this little hole here in the top is so that you can put your diamond painting pen in there and it doesn't roll away. We love that. And then it has an open and close pour spout. Loving, 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 loving that. And then I'm going to open my book here and show you what we are working on. You can see it is from Art and Soul Diamond Paintings. This is Frost by Christine Karen, and I am just about done. I am up here in this last little top row, as you can see right up here. I am excited. We're getting close to done and close to a post review on this. Cannot wait. But let me move my tarot cards to the side. These are the Fairies Oracle cards. Art by Brian Froud with text by Jessica Macbeth. I've already got these all shuffled up, and I will be using them, reading one after the last half. So let me set these aside for a moment. All right, bam. How is everybody doing? How's your week been? Don't mind my busted thumbnail. You know how I did that? I took a sticker off of something, and not only did it break the acrylic nail, but it broke my nail at the same time. Oh my God, you guys, it did not feel awesome. I'll tell you that much. But all of that said, you know what? I soldier on, because as much as it hurts, it's just, what can you do? But let me go ahead and get some things started here. If you are joining me for the first time, hi, hello. My name is Naomi, like I said, and a WIP and chat is sort of like a podcast. You could treat it that way, or you can pull out a diamond painting and work with me while I chat with you, tell you a little bit about my week, things like that. I need to put some more fresh putty up in here because I just finished my other square, and I'm a hard placer, you guys, and if you're a hard placer like me, then you probably do a lot of like refreshing of your putty, or maybe you don't. Maybe I am all alone in that, but I like to have fresh putty basically every new square that I start. And I think it's probably because I don't like it when it starts to turn real tacky or like sticky, I guess, and it starts stretching really bad, or it starts to turn kind of grainy, as will happen. I like to use it just as it is, fresh. I feel like the ABs go on better, although this kit doesn't have any ABs, thankfully. I don't have to deal with any of that. ABs or Aurora Borealis. Those are the ones that are like have an iridescent coating on it. This particular kit, it has soul dust or pearlescent fairy dust drills, whatever you want to call them. They're gorgeous. One, I will say that. Let me grab some out and I can show you what I'm talking about here. These are a fairy dust or a pearlescent or soul dust drill. And they have some glitter encapsulated in the mica of the resin. But let's see. Let's start with, I want to start with this white drill. Get those out of the way. Do I have any more of those? Let me see. I always keep my, oh, I do. I always keep my excess diamonds nearby in case I need to like refill or anything like that. And I can see that I will still need more of these before the end of this painting. So I'm just going to go ahead and refill the container because, you know, whatever. But I like to keep those nearby. So anyways, guys, hello. I hope your week has been well. Mine has been mostly the same as usual. It has been planning for Mary Morales, which is coming up the 1st of December, and getting things together from sponsors, getting the what's the word I'm looking for? Like content, you know, created and recorded, that sort of thing. It's been busy times for me, which I don't mind. I was talking to my members today in the Discord because, you know, on Tuesdays I have trivia and then we do Discord after dark where we voice chat. And I was telling everybody that I'm really, I used the word nervous, but that's not even the right word for it. It's nerves. You know what I mean? Like I'm full of nerves, and it's not a like catastrophizing or anything like that. I don't worry that the whole thing's just going to be a disaster, but I want it to be successful, and I'm nervous about it not being successful. I want it to be, you know, a hit for the sponsors, making sure that they make money off of sponsoring the event. But already there are, I think, 3 times as many participants this time as there were for Wings and Anythings. And so already it's more successful than my last event, which I felt was successful. I mean, unless I'm wrong, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I felt very good about it, but this one I'm planning something so much bigger, you know? Ooh, listen to that pop. Wow. The Ghost. I refreshed not too long ago, and so it's popping. Anyways, so yeah, I'm a bundle of nerves. What can I say? And not in a bad way. Just like I said, it's nerves. I'm not necessarily nervous, but I am full of nerves, and what do you do? But if you're unfamiliar with the event, I do have a video that you can watch. It is regarding, you know, all the specifics of the event. And I'm thinking, you know, it's going to be great. If you love Margaret Morales, not Mary Morales, because we're doing Mary Morales. If you love Margaret Morales, then I think you're going to love this event. We are doing a Margaret Morales diamond paint along with lots and lots of giveaways. And it is going to be just something. I'm really excited. Other than that, what else has gone on? So it is getting to be chilly out. I don't want to say the dirty S word, right? But we're approaching that time of year. It's the week before Thanksgiving in the United States. If you do not celebrate because you're in another country or whatever, that is the last Thursday of November. And when you watch this, it will be the second to last Wednesday before the end of November. So we celebrate with food, things like that. I love me some food, but we also get together with family, and that can be a trigger for some people. And I want to get into some more about that, but a little bit later. For now, I want to tell you a story that Dustin told me going into work on Monday morning. He works at a car dealership and he is in sales, not in car sales, but he does like sales of like factory parts, Mopar factory parts. And so, he works with commercial sales and he works with private sales, things like that, where if you're looking to buy a factory part for your car, if you are working as a mechanic, then you would speak to somebody like him about getting that factory part. Or if you were just a person in off the streets, you might talk to him, about buying a factory part. Well, anyways, he gets to work on Monday, and come to find out, over the weekend, there was a fire. And he's fine, everybody's fine, nobody got hurt or anything. Well, no person got hurt. That is not to say the same for a Jeep Wagoneer that was supposed to have been sold on Monday morning. They get in and come to find out that somebody who is definitely going to be fired when they find out who it is, put the Wagoneer on a battery charger. And you wouldn't want to even put a vehicle on a battery charger overnight, much less over the entire weekend. And apparently it, like you would suspect, it caught fire, right? It started a fire. And then when the fire department responded to the alarm for the fire, apparently the alarm was sending them to a completely different building than the fire was actually in. They get to the building that the fire is not in, see that it is not on fire, call it a false alarm, move on with their lives. And meanwhile, the blaze was, thank goodness, it was contained by the sprinkler system. And so the sprinkler system, I guess, was going for something like 5 hours solid to keep, the blaze under control, because you figure a vehicle burning, there's fuel, there's the rubber of the tires, there's all the things. And so it did manage to keep everything contained to one section. But he said when he got there, even the offices that they work in, which are not near that particular area, all the floors there even were soaked because the water was running for so long. So no computer damage or anything like that, just happened to be in like one of their bays where they have, the new cars that go to get detailed and things like that. So like their detailing area was completely destroyed, water damage and things like that. And the truck is done for, toast. So whoever came in to get their truck never got their Wagoneer, their Jeep, never got it. And so, like I said, whoever started that fire, totally fired. No pun intended on that, but they are 100% terminated, I would assume. But yeah, he came home on Monday and told me about that. I was like, oh, that's not good. That's no bueno. But it was just a funny story. Things are also, nature-wise are starting to wind down. I love to walk after I've finished a square, and I was talking today on my live about maybe I'm gonna have to start mall walking or something, because I gotta do something, or I can't fit a treadmill in my house. Besides, I feel like, is this wrong? Like, I feel like I would end up with a treadmill in the house and it would never get used. And then I would just be one of those dumbasses who bought a treadmill, put it in my house, and never touched it. Like, what a waste. So, trying to... Oh, sorry, Bacon just shook the world. Oh, my goodness. She's a chunker, all right. Yeah, I would feel like a dumbass if I got a freaking treadmill and then did nothing with it, because we all have these really good intentions for things, and then there's what actually happens. And unfortunately, I don't think that I would end up using a treadmill, too artificial. I'd rather be outside, but I am getting a little concerned as to how I'm going to keep off those winter pounds because, you know, like I said earlier, there's so much good food that you eat during Thanksgiving, and so this year, like most years, I don't spend the holidays, generally the holidays, with my family. I do spend time with Dustin's family. We go to his parents' house and we have Thanksgiving dinner, and we spend Christmas Day or Christmas Eve with them. Christmas Day we just spend at home, you know, with our kids, what have you. But like Thanksgiving is with his family. I don't see much of my family anymore. And I think that it was a revelation in my life when I figured out that I did not need to put myself through that. I don't know what other word to use except like literally agony. I didn't know how to keep my emotions under control. There was always some fight that would happen, or some argument, or some bullcrap, right? And I would never give myself permission before, when my mom was still alive, to not put myself through that. And it was mostly because, you know, I love my mom. I always wanted the holidays to be special for her. I wanted to, you know, even though I knew it was bad for me mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I would still suffer to get everybody together for Christmas and to make sure that my siblings were at least getting along enough so that we could all meet in the same place for Mom. And after she died, I realized that I didn't need to do that to myself anymore. I didn't need to bring myself to a place where I was miserable. I didn't need to put myself in a position where I was unhappy or whatever. And I just didn't know that no was an appropriate or even a permissible response. And when she passed and I no longer felt the need to do this for her, I realized that I could have the holidays that I always wanted to have, which was with the people that I love and care about. Not that I don't love and care about my own family, my mom's kids, or, you know, my brothers and my sister. I just don't have to put myself through that. And once I realized and figured that out, it became so much more of a festive season for me. Like, I realized I did not need to do all of that. And in fact, it's not healthy to do all of that. I turned into a person that, like, even I didn't recognize. Just grumpy, moody, reacting to everything, and stressed, you know, uncomfortable. And I didn't give myself permission to just feel those feelings because I was trying to keep it together for the happiness of my mom or my siblings or whatever. Never did it even occur to me that, it, like I said, that it was an option I could just opt out of. You know, and one, I will tell you that you can too, even if you think that you can't, even if you're like, yeah, but I'm just gonna hear it worse from my family if I don't, or whatever your excuse is that you're cooking up for yourself, that you have to do it. No, you don't. You really, really don't. Now I understand if maybe you have a parent who's nearing end of life and you're just trying to keep it together for them until, you know, what have you. I get that. I totally understand that, and I understand the hard place that you're in, and hopefully you don't have to keep doing that too much longer, because I know it's hard, especially when you're keeping it together for a family member. I did it for, like I said, many years. But give yourself time, I would say, to not have to do those things if it really just makes you unhappy. Sorry, I guess I was roasting the children with the heat in the house. I had to turn it down a little bit. So, yeah, I get it. I've been there. Like I said, I hope that you can kind of take back your power this holiday season and not have to do that. But maybe I'll give some tips, I think, the next whip and chat on if you have to manage through the holiday season and you have to be around maybe people that don't make you very happy, like the ways, like some strategies for that, because I think it can be useful to everybody, you know? What I wanted to talk about today, though, before pulling a card or whatever, uh, something that I've noticed is hard for me, and that is overreaction. Okay? And let me explain what I mean by that. I have seen, especially recently, uh, a lot of what I would consider to be gross overreactions to things. And it got me thinking, okay, because I also can tend to overreact in certain situations, and depending on the situation, sometimes it's warranted, most of the time it isn't. But I wanted to at least talk a little bit about the types of overreactions that there are and ways to, I guess, like, of not necessarily, well, avoid it, one, but then preventing it, you know, if you can prevent it, and if you can't, how to go about apologizing when you do, or the next steps after you have overreacted, because sometimes they're like it's like water at the, in the ocean, right? At a certain point you cannot hold back the tides, and when you fail to hold back the tides, sometimes you need to try and pick up the pieces of a relationship or a situation afterward. And the best ways to kind of strategize that and what to do in those instances. Okay. So, types of overreactions that there are. You can have like an emotional overreaction where you have really just intense feelings that are kind of disproportionate to the situation. Okay, for instance, let's say a friend cancels plans with you, all right? And you then decide that because they've done so, you're really deeply hurt, and then you've decided that they simply do not value your friendship, okay? Uh, and I've been guilty of that before, where I'm like, clearly you canceled on me. You could give a crap how I feel. And a lot of that comes from past insecurities and unresolved emotions with that person. And that can really like amplify your response. Maybe they've ditched you before. They're generally flaky people or whatever. Um, and I don't do well with flaky people. Um, I I feel like if you've made plans with me and you're not going to stick to those plans, let me know in enough advance time that I'm not sitting there at the restaurant or the movie or the whatever or driving to said place. And now all of a sudden you're texting me like, yeah, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. And then I wait 15 minutes and then you're like, never mind, I can't make it. Something came up. Guarantee you that you knew 15 minutes ago when I was on my way there, not just sitting there, that you knew something was going to go on or whatever, that you weren't going to make it. Just let me know. Like, we're adults, right? And then I tend to overreact or feel like you don't value my time or whatever because here I am sitting here and you've left me. Well, sometimes it's in the moment it's hard to do, but if you could just like pause and assess objectively, right? And ask yourself if your feelings actually align with the facts. Like, you know, yeah, this has happened a couple of times before, but it's always been an important thing that you've canceled on me or whatever. Just try and assess. It's not easy, especially when you're hurt, but you got to assess the situation. There's also like verbal overreactions where you respond with really excessive or harsh words. Like a coworker forgets to include you in an email and then you accuse them of being disrespectful. And then you start lashing out. And it's usually because you are frustrated or you feel undervalued in some kind of way, because, you know, if they really valued your opinion, they would have included you in the first place or whatever. And then you lash out. Just, you know, managing that by taking a moment to process. Again, it's always that taking a beat, taking a minute. That rule that I have of the 3 questions. Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? And does this need to be said by me right now? And if you can't answer all 3 of those questions with a yes, then you need to pause. Okay? And it's always, 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 when it comes to an overreaction, you need to take a breath. Just take a breath. My friend was talking the other night about sometimes it's like you write the email, because usually we're responding to each other in a text form. It's not usually verbally. Sometimes it is, but you write first the email that you want to write, get it all out, all your pissed off words and whatever, and then you go back and you revise it and you read it again. And then you stop, you revise it, and you read it again. And then you're going to put it in a way where if you received this, you wouldn't immediately go, well, F you right back, and then escalate the situation. There's also like physical overreactions, like slamming objects or storming out. God, I hate this part. Because my oldest was really bad about that for a while until she lost her door to her bedroom because she slammed it. I can't handle people slamming objects. I have issues with just sudden loud sounds like that. And so, nope. You're not going to go around screaming, slamming things, you know, what have you. Not in my house, you're not. Not, and keep your door. That's not going to happen. And like, I guess, you know, an example, a lame example would be you spill your coffee and then you get so peed off that you throw the mug or something out of frustration. And that's usually because you have some sort of like built up stress or an inability to cope with minor setbacks. And I have found that especially like in the diamond painting community, because so many of us are dealing with mental health issues, that this happens a lot, where somebody will overreact because something happens they're probably already feeling stressed about something, and then they essentially, like a, like a 5-year-old, they go, I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. And it, in the moment, it feels good and it feels right, but everybody else is looking at you like you're a crazy person. And they're not totally wrong, but you need to channel that physical energy into something constructive, like playing with a little stress toy and just squeeze a face right off of it, or whatever. Or taking a walk. Like, sometimes just physically getting something out of you feels so much better than sitting and stewing in it. There's also my issue, which is like catastrophizing. Like my boss, oh my God, my boss would text me and say, can you meet me down in my office really quick? And I'm like, oh shit, I'm fired. I am so fired. And I'm going over all the things I might have possibly done wrong in the last, 4 years that I've worked there. And what am I in trouble for? What did I do? Oh my God, I would do that all the time. And I would have to challenge those assumptions by like thinking about the less likely severe scenarios. It was probably somebody else that was in trouble and she just needed my opinions or whatever, because anxiety or fear of failure can lead to really exaggerated negative predictions about things. I really don't like people who passively overreact, like those people who, like, let's say your partner forgets your anniversary, and instead of like talking to them about it, you give them the silent treatment for days and days. Oh, I hate that. And it's like, if you fear confrontation, I get that, but you need to communicate with a person, because otherwise that other person, which is usually me, is left to assume that there's some bigger problem or whatever, and then they're assuming the absolute worst, while meanwhile you're just trying to be a passive aggressive wanker. Okay? Don't do that. Just talk about it. Yes, take a breath, but eventually you're going to need to talk about it, because we're all adults here, right? Then there's like the defensive overreactions, where you think somebody is criticizing you, so you over defend yourself. Like somebody suggests a small improvement or a way that you could make something better or more accessible or whatever, and you immediately list all of the reasons why it's fine the way that it is. Or like maybe you said, well, no, I already did all of that and it didn't work, so I ended up doing it this way because that's the only way I could do it, right? And maybe you're feeling attacked or you're really insecure about your efforts, but you need to separate somebody's comment from your sense of self-worth. It doesn't... Q-tip, quit taking it personally. It's not personal. They're not coming at you. They're trying to give you a bit of advice that would help you ultimately, or your thing, whatever your thing is. They're probably not saying it out of attack. Just like, take a breath, take a minute and think about, why that feedback is trying to be constructive and not just criticism. Because criticism on the whole is not a bad thing. We all think criticism is bad, but it's when it's constructive and they're trying to tell you something that's going to help you. Think about the ways in which what they said is useful and take your feelings out of the mix. It's hard to do, but it's necessary. And then, there's just like attention seeking in overreaction, like social overreaction, where, like, or you're withdrawing, even attention seeking or withdrawing. You're at a party and somebody accidentally interrupts you, and then you leave abruptly thinking nobody values your presence. And maybe that's your social anxiety or your fear of being overlooked, but you need to just take a breath. Maybe they're just rude. It happens. And then there's like the hyperbole or exaggeration, making really dramatic ass statements, like that escalates a situation. Like your partner forgets to do the dishes and you say, "You never help me with anything around here." Or, somebody offers a bit of advice and, "I'm so tired of everyone attacking me." It's not everyone. It's one person who said something, and they might have been trying to be helpful to you and you didn't hear it that way. But don't say everybody's on you or whatever, or that every situation boils down to this one situation, because that's just not, it's not realistic, and that's not life. That's not the way life works. It's hard. I know it's hard. And the person who needs to hear this right now probably isn't hearing it, and that's unfortunate. But you need to focus on specific issues rather than generalizing everything. It's like when you identify all these different types of overreactions, you can really better understand and manage your emotional responses and foster healthier interactions between you and other people, making your relationships better. Generally, making your relationships better, making you better, instead of just acting off of sheer instinct and feeling and emotion, when emotion is like, your feelings are not fact. And man, is that hard sometimes for all of us to get our head around, that your feelings are not facts. It can feel like they're facts, but they're not facts. And so your overreaction is neither necessary nor is it warranted. And it's probably not appreciated. Just take a beat, take a breath. Okay? And then if you do overreact, like, acknowledge what happened. First of all, be honest about your behavior. Like saying, "I realize I overreacted earlier." And take responsibility after you've acknowledged it by saying, "That was my fault and I'm sorry for reacting that way." Show empathy by, showing that you understand how your reaction affected the other person. Like, I imagine that might have been hurtful or confusing for you. Making amends with another person, like, if possible, offer to repair the situation and say, like, "Let me clarify what I meant," or "Let me help fix the issue by doing XYZ." And then commit to improvement and mean it. Don't just say it, but mean. Reassure them that you're working on it and you're working on managing your emotions better. And I'm trying to respond more thoughtfully, and I'll keep working on it. And actually keep working on it. And then, you are going to have to be a little bit compassionate of yourself, but that being said, don't cut yourself so much slack that you're not taking responsibility for what you did or what you said and blaming everyone else in the world for the way that you reacted to something, because you're never going to be able to control what other people say or what other people do, only in the ways that you react to what they say or what they do. And I am learning a lot about this myself and learning to temper my expectations so that my initial reaction is not an overreaction. And I feel like I've gotten better and better at it every day by actually doing the things that I say that I say to do, right? But let me grab out the cards real quick and let's take a look. Where did I put them? Oh, over here. Let's take a look at the card that's on the top, because again, I've already shuffled and I want to see what we get, and let's have a thought for the week. And get myself a little drink. All right, flipping it over. The fairy godmother. Oh, she's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, I love this owl. And she's got an apple and a little sphere, whatever this little creature is, and this one. I love those. She's beautiful. I love the birch trees like coming out of her headdress here. The fairy godmother. Now, she was upside down, but I'm going to leave her right side up so you can look at her for a little bit. 25. Let's see what the fairy godmother has in store for us today. The key phrases are gifts, talents, grace, and helpful lessons. Reverse. When we block the fairy godmother from our daily lives, things are harder than they need to be. When we attempt to live without the grace of the fairies and of heaven, life is an uphill struggle. When we twist this energy, we become judgmental and get tied in knots trying to decide who is worthy and who is not. We tie strings to everything we offer others, and then we trip over them. At our worst, we sour our lives, sharing nothing and taking from others, becoming the selfish, greedy thief in the night instead of the sparkling fairy godmother who glows with the light from within. No matter how much that thief accumulates, he will never have enough to feel happy or secure or loved. That is a powerful message. And it really reiterates everything that I just said. It does. You know, I love this. We tie strings to everything we offer others, and then we trip over them. That's so big. That's so big. And I feel like lately, especially with the holiday season approaching, that maybe there's a lot more stress or whatever, but I feel like there are those out there who can make you feel like you should be honored to know them. You should be honored to even be invited. You should know what the rules are. You should know what the stakes are. You should understand what goes into it, right? I feel like there's a lot of I statements. And I see them, I feel them, I hear them, and I don't fully understand them. And I'm not saying I am perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Please do not take anything that I say. Like, the more that I talk about all of these things with you guys, the more I am learning, and I am tempering, and I am bettering myself. So please don't think that I am sitting here judging on my pedestal because I'm amazing and I never fail. I never do anything wrong. I'm good to everybody. I always do the right thing. No, I don't. Often I do the wrong thing or say the wrong thing. But I have noticed that there is this sense of a twisted energy and tying strings. Like, oh my God, I have felt like some interactions with some people have had those strings feel so freaking evident. Like, you feel them. They're there. It's like suffocating at times to feel those strings around a something, whatever it happens to be. It's like, man, this is all supposed to be fun. It's all supposed to be entertaining. It's all supposed to be for the good of everybody or whatever. And you feel like that string, like a noose around your neck. And it's probably wrong to say, and I'm going to say it anyways, that I have really been learning a lot about what not to do by watching others, listening to others, and seeing the ways that a person, any person, makes me feel when it comes to whatever the thing happens to be. Like, you know, I'm not going to consume this type of content because this person made me feel this way. Or conversely, I want to consume this content or do this thing or participate in this event or whatever. But because of the way that this person made me feel and the way that this person behaves or reacts or acts, I can't do it. I can't see myself condoning that behavior. So when I do my event, or when I have my party, or when I meet with my friends or whatever, then I'm going to do something totally different than the way that I was made to feel. But I am not perfect. Far from it. Far from it. And I want to be able to, at the end of the day, to say, I did that. I worked hard at doing that. And I tried to be mindful and grateful and thoughtful the entire time. And I'm going to fail at that too. I am. But I want to be able to make myself and my kids and my friends proud to know me and proud to be a part of my life or a part of my thing, whatever my thing happens to be. Now, I know that this time of year is really, really stressful. It is. There's a whole lot of stakes tied to it. And I don't mean nummy steaks like meat steaks. I mean that it can feel like there's so much on the line when it comes to the holiday season. And we are only able to make ourselves feel that way. No one else is in charge of those emotions except us. So I would caution you, or by proxy, those you know, not to take on more stuff when your reactions are already overreactions. Because you could, without even realizing it, cost yourself everything. Because you are so busy tying strings to everything that you trip over them. You trip yourself up. It does not take long for people to see through that energy and to turn on you. And I try to remember that when I am interacting with my family, with my friends, with my viewers, and it's not always easy. It's not. because we can all get wrapped up in our own garbage. But it's important that I do assess and take the time to realize what I might be doing to contribute to the mess of the situation. Oftentimes, we want to be blind to the ways that we could be responsible. And sometimes we're not. And sometimes we are. And it's what you do and how you present yourself when you are responsible. If somebody tells you you're responsible and you just deny, right? I don't feel like you're going to learn anything. Maybe step into their shoes for a hot second, even though wearing other people's shoes is disgusting. Like in reality, not, metaphorically. It's gross. But just step into their shoes for a minute and think about why they could be right. And I've tried to do better about that with my family. I've tried to do better about that with my kids. I've tried to do better about that with my friends. And I feel like I'm getting close. I'm getting close to a spot where I understand it more. I am a try hard through and through, you guys. And I will do and say things sometimes simply because I want to please people. I want to make people happy, and I want to, ultimately, I don't want to let anybody down. And there have been many times in my life where I should have just known my own limitations and said, this is probably better for someone who is not me to do or to work on or whatever, even though I wanted to do it and I wanted to do it right. That's not always possible. It's not always feasible, and it's not always the best idea. I spoke to somebody tonight about something really, really important, and I hope that they heard the message, not just the words I was saying, but the message I was trying to convey. And as a parting message, and slightly off topic, but on topic of friends, family, the holidays. The holidays are hard for a lot of different reasons on everybody, especially those who are alone or lonely. It's an excuse sometimes for people who have issues with sobriety to act out or relapse, or maybe not fully relapse, but to have a slip. And while sometimes, yes, the stress of the holidays can be a reason, more often than not, it's an excuse, because there are plenty of ways of coping with all of that available for people. It's whether or not they take the hand that's offered out to them to stay away from the things that could be dangerous to them. That said, make sure that if you know someone who is alone for the season, they're alone for the holidays or whatever, you may not even be thinking of them right this minute. But maybe, just maybe, by my reminding you that you know someone like this, you will remember, just check in on them. Just check in. It doesn't have to be a big production. It doesn't have to be any strings attached. It doesn't have to mean more than just I'm just checking in on you to see if you're okay. But try to do that a little more this holiday season, just 'cause. You know those weird feelings that a person gets sometimes? I get those weird feelings, and there's a couple people that I know I'm going to need to check in on this year. Just because things have been bad for them this year, or things have come up or whatever. Just check in. Just do it for me. Even if I'm being, a little bit motherly or overreactionary or whatever, just check in on those people and show them, one, that they're not alone, and two, that they don't need to resort to old familiar methods of coping to get through the holiday season. Speaking of which, I will be talking more about it, but I was invited to participate in the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day premieres that are held each year for diamond painters who don't have maybe somebody in their life over the holidays. And I'm looking forward to recording my premiere and getting to know some more people in the community. So keep an eye out for that official announcement very soon. But I really hope that, the words that I've said today, that somebody needed to hear them and heard them, because that's always, the goal. I know I heard them and I needed to hear them, and so I'm gonna take my own advice and make sure that I've got, a plan of action in place for the holidays and for my ability sometimes to really overreact in a situation, and to try and use those tactics to bring myself back from a really bad place. Okay. And if you have any questions or any topics or whatnot that you'd like me to talk about on my channel, please make sure, leave a comment or send me an email if you want it to be more anonymous and you're just kind of looking for a, hey, would you mind talking about this? Or would you think about me next time you pull a card? And I will, when I do the next WIP and chat, I will specifically think about you. If you have a specific question that you want an answer to, go ahead and put that in an email or whatever. But I will legitimately pull a card that will be your card, and I will talk about what that means to me or whatever when I do the WIP and chat. But hopefully it would answer whatever questions that you might have for the week. I'm happy to do that. I think it would be actually kind of cool to pull a card for somebody and give a one card little quick reading for someone based on what comes up. So let me know in the comments if there's a question in particular that you have, or you want me to, you just say, draw a card for me, and I want to know the answer to this question or whatever. I'd be happy to do that. That could be fun. Otherwise, you guys, thank you for sticking around, as per usual. Thanks for hanging out for my TED Talk. But, I really do, I do really get something out of this, and I hope that you do too. But anyhow, you guys, thank you as ever for hanging out with me for this hour. I hope you got a lot done on your diamond painting because I'm getting pretty far myself. But as ever, you guys, I hope that wherever you are in this great, big, beautiful world, that you are having a phenomenal morning, evening, or afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I'll see you again soon, okay? Bye-bye.